So last week I filmed my updated Premier League predictions because I really did need to update my Premier League predictions from before the season back in August, because let's just say they are very bad, as you're going to see. And in that video I said, guys, do you want me to react to my pre-season Premier League predictions? Because I tell you what, Wolves, Spurs, Liverpool, West Ham, some of the clubs I owe an apology to, and Manchester United, you've let me down this season. So please do hit that like button if you haven't already. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. We're going from 20th to 1st, reacting to my Premier League predictions from August. So this is my predictions from August, and then where this team currently is and who is currently in the place that I predicted this team to be. And I only got one right so far. Obviously, we're halfway through the season, so if I predicted the team to finish 16th and they're 14th, they might finish 16th. But you know what I mean. And I have to say, I've already filmed this video and I clicked cancel recording instead of save, so I am re-recording this. But starting in 20th, Luton Town, I think everyone predicted Luton to come 20th, or at least 19th or 18th. Everyone predicted Luton to go down. I think Luton could just stay out, but I think the quality between the Premier League teams and the Championship promoted teams is quite a lot that I think maybe they're just going to go down. But they have been very good at home. They're currently in 18th. Sheffield United are currently in 20th, and out of the promoted sides, Luton have looked the best. But we have to go into one of the stinkers. We've got about 5 stinkers in here, and this is the first. This is Wolves, and this highlights how good Gary O'Neill has been for Wolves. What a fantastic job he's done. Look, Bategi had gone, who was a good manager, and I thought he'd done enough to keep them up. I thought Wolves could have gone down last season if it wasn't for Bategi's brilliance. They lost Neves, they lost Nunes. They hadn't really invested that much well. And Gary O'Neill's coming in, he's got the best out of their players. Some of their players have been brilliant. Nori, Hwang, Cunha's look very, very good as well. Obviously, Neto coming back, he's obviously injured. I predicted Wolves 19th. Currently in 19th is Burnley, which I predicted much higher. And I think a lot of people predicted Burnley to finish a lot higher than they did. One that is semi-accurate, but it was Sheffield United. And I said in my Premier League predictions video, I think Sheffield United could just maybe stay out, but they're going to go right to the very end. No, they look like they're going to be the first team to be out and down. They are 20th, they are last, and they have been the worst team. So my relegation predictions, 2 out of 3 will probably go down, but Wolves are not going down, especially if you take VAR away. Wolves would probably be 6th or 7th. They're currently in 11th, and I think they're only 3 or 4 points off Man United, who are 7th. So there's really not as much between 7th and 11th. It's very tight in the table, so I think a lot of these could change massively as well between now and the end of the season. For 17th, I predicted Bournemouth just to stay up because I thought they did good business, but I thought it was crazy them sacking Gary O'Neill. But look, they're currently 12th. I think not that long ago they were 17th, but their last 2 months they've sort of really come across as a really good team. They sort of built themselves together. They've got used to the style of play. I think Bournemouth will probably end up finishing anywhere between about 14th to 10th this season. I think 12th is pretty much nailed on. And Everton are currently in 17th. One that is almost accurate and could be accurate come into the season, I've put Forest for 16th, and they're currently in 15th. Brentford are currently in 16th, but I think Forest will probably end up finishing 16th, 15th, 14th, maybe 17th, but I think they're good enough to stay up. They have obviously sacked Steve Cooper now, so interesting to see how Nuno does. In 15th, I predicted Everton. They're currently in 17th. If it wasn't for the points deduction, they would be in 12th. So we're somewhat along the right lines for Everton, but we have to wait and see. I think they've done enough to stay up, but there's obviously FFP rumours about Everton and Forest having more punishments themselves, actually. But Everton currently in 17th. I've predicted them 15th. I think they'll probably end up finishing about 15th. A team that they overestimated, and I think a lot of people overestimated them, and I think I fell into the social media hype for this one. I watched a few Championship games. I thought, wow, Burnley are brilliant. I see everyone hyping up Burnley, the style of play, the way that they play on social media, and I thought, yeah, this Burnley team's good. Let's put them in 14th. You know how like Brentford have come up and played some good stuff and actually ended up finishing like 13th, and even Leeds in the past have come up and finished a lot higher than people expected. I thought Burnley were going to be that side that was going to come up and play, but I think in the Premier League you can't play that kind of football. You have to shut up shop. The quality is massive. The quality gap from the Premier League to the Championship is massive, and I think Burnley have learned that the hard way. Maybe they'll gradually improve because they've got some quality there, and maybe they'll just avoid relegation, but I think they're currently 19th for now. It looks like they're going to go down. And going in 13th, and this is a team I owe a massive apology to, West Ham. Now, at the time of recording this video, they hadn't signed Kudus, they hadn't signed Edson Alvarez, they just sold Declan Rice, and they were looking at McTominay and Maguire to replace Declan Rice. And I said Maguire would be good for them, McTominay not so much. They're currently in 6th. I think they'll probably end up finishing 9th or 10th, West Ham this season, just because they've got the extra games in Europe and a natural drop-off. But they could finish 6th, they could finish 7th. And you know what? West Ham had loads of seasons where they were sort of pushing the top 6, and then last season was a blip season. So should I be surprised that West Ham as high as they are? Maybe not. Maybe I got this wrong. But Kudus, Bowen, Paquetá, that trio's been unbelievable. James Ward-Prowse's been unbelievable. I think West Ham do need to strengthen the centre back, but they've got a really good team and some really good quality players, and they've replaced Declan Rice so well. So fair play to West Ham. Really, really deserves to be there, and I was very wrong. While I'm normally always accurate with Crystal Palace, I think Crystal Palace always seem to finish 12th, 13th or 14th. If you put them in there, you've got a very high chance of being accurate. They are currently 14th. They could finish 12th. They could finish 15th. They could finish 16th. They're Crystal Palace. They've got Elise. They've got Eze. They've got Gay. They've got Tyreek Mitchell. They've got some good players. Depends on injuries. But Bournemouth are currently in 12th. In 11th, I want the Fulham. Fulham looked really good last season. They've had periods where they've looked really good this season, beating Arsenal, back-to-back 5-0 wins as well. Currently 13th, predicted them in 11th. Let's see how Fulham's season goes. But a team maybe are over-predicted because of how good they were last season and maybe underestimated the importance of Ivan Toney, who was I think top 3 goal scorers last season, is Brentford. They lost Ivan Toney. He's one of the best goal scorers in football. A lot of big teams want him, and they have dropped off. They are currently 16th. He's coming back. They could go on a run and finish 13th, maybe, depending on how he hits the ground running. But they're 16th. They've not been good. They could even go down if they don't sort themselves out, Brentford. So, yeah, that was a big L for me. I've got them in 10th. Probably overestimated that. But we're going to go into the top 9, and I think, to be honest, if you thought this half of the predictions was bad, the top 9 is shocking. The top 9 is absolutely shocking. Starting with Brighton, which is somewhat accurate because I said with Brighton they're going to probably come 8th or 9th or drop off this season because they're going to be in Europe. They've lost McAllister, they've lost Casado. They're currently in 8th. They've had an injury crisis. They've actually done really well and managed the injury crisis really well, so they could finish 5th or 6th or 7th because we know what De Zerbi is capable of. But it's the fact that I predicted them 9th and above the likes of Chelsea and stuff, below the likes of Chelsea and stuff. But I think it's interesting. I think Brighton could finish 9th. They are currently in 8th. In 8th, though, I predicted Spurs, and this is one that I definitely massively got wrong. This is at the point where Spurs were on the verge of selling Harry Kane, and I thought, you know what, considering how bad Spurs were last season, and I think Spurs fans will admit this, last season they were dreadful, losing Harry Kane. I thought the transfer business they were doing was good, but I thought Maddison was fantastic, but Vicario, not many people knew loads about, and they did a lot of very under-the-radar signings, and I think they looked okay in pre-season, but I thought, it's going to take Ange time to get these guys working, considering where they were last season and losing Harry Kane. And Ange, this is just credit to how good Ange has been. They're fit with an injury crisis. They could be even higher up, especially because they've got 1 game a week. I generally think they can finish 4th or 3rd, generally because they've got 1 game a week, which might sound crazy. I predicted them 8th. They're in 5th, deservedly in 5th, could be in higher, got new players coming in. Got players coming back from injury. Maddison's been wow. Look at the signings. Like, Sarr's been so much better than I thought. Pedro Porro looks like a different player this season. There's a lot of question marks. Will he be able to play in a back 4 under Ange? He's improved defensively going forward. He's immense. Vicario's come in and been the best goalkeeper, and I think a lot of us weren't familiar with Vicario. I did say, and if you watched my Mickey van der Ven video, I think he'd be a very good signing for Spurs. And Mickey van der Ven, when he has played, has been a very good sign for Spurs. But Maddison was the only signing that I was like, wow. And I was like, Mickey van der Ven is smart. They do need a keeper, but all their signings have been good. Ange is getting the best out of all their players, and I think Spurs could generally finish 3rd. I think I predicted them in my updated predictions to finish 3rd. It's quite mad when you think about it, because I think a lot of people put Spurs 8th, 9th, 10th, and I thought losing Kane, I thought Ange is a good manager, but look at how they were, look at how long they've got. The fact that Ange has implemented his identity so quick is a credit to him as well. In 7th, I've got Villa, which is quite bad considering that Chelsea are in 6th, and we're going to get into that. They're currently in 3rd. I said in my video, Aston Villa did great transfer business. They did some really good work. I said with Villa, I generally think they could push the top 6, maybe just get into the top 6, but because of Europe and the extra games, we're going to put them 7th. How wrong was I? They deserve to be 3rd. They have been fantastic. They ended last season really well as one of the form teams, so maybe I should have expected them to break into the top 6 as I don't think they could. Maybe I should have predicted them higher. I should have really predicted them above Chelsea. I think Chelsea pre-season just sort of made me think, Chelsea were going to be better than they were this season. But Villa's, Unai Emery's done a great job. They ended last season really, really well. They were the form team at home. They've scored a goal in basically all of their games, bar like one. Diaby was a good signing. Pau Torres has been unbelievable. I think Villa will definitely finish in the top 5. But I did think they'd be the surprise team, but not as good as I thought. But I didn't think they'd be as good as they have been. They've been unbelievable. In 6th, we've got Chelsea. Chelsea could still finish in 6th with Nkunku coming back. They're starting to get a run of wins going on. I think Chelsea actually create the third most chances, and I think when Chelsea click, they can easily actually get a run going and finish 6th. I think there's still a chance for Chelsea to finish 6th, but they're at 9th because they've been hit and miss. Sometimes you watch Chelsea in the crap. sometimes you watch Chelsea and you're like, there's a good team here. But I think it's all about team gelling and time with Chelsea. So I actually think they're going to get better and better and better. So maybe they could finish 6th, but that was a bit off. In 5th, I've got Newcastle, who are currently in 10th. To be fair to Newcastle, this was the injury crisis that no one predicted coming. They've been in one of the worst injury crises. I think Newcastle have had the most injuries, followed by United, followed by Brighton, followed by Chelsea. And you can see how depleted and how exhausted they are. I do think that the second half of the season will be better for Newcastle, because I think they'll have players coming back from injuries and they're only going to have 1 game a week instead of 2 games a week, which I think just knackered them out. But the thing about Newcastle is, yes, they're in 10th, but we've seen them give big teams a big game. We've seen them, give Man City a game in the Cup. We've seen them beat Manchester United twice this season, beat PSG at home. We've seen that they've caused all the big teams problems, even Arsenal. The fact that Newcastle, on their day when people are fit, were that good says to me that when they get players back, I think they'll be fine and they'll definitely finish higher than 10th. But been inaccurate with the 5th prediction. But I think this is one of the worst predictions, and it's Liverpool 4th, because I almost put Liverpool 5th and Newcastle 4th. But I was like, you know what? Because Liverpool ended last season so well, and I think Newcastle could struggle in Europe, I'm going to put Liverpool 4th. Liverpool are currently 1st. They deserve to be 1st. They've been phenomenal. I think because they just missed out on Caicedo, and it looked like they were going to miss out on Lavia at this point in that big number 6. I was like, I'm not sure. I think Endo's been super, super impressive, hasn't he? Improved a lot of people wrong. But I looked at Liverpool and I thought, well, there shouldn't be any expectation for Liverpool to win the title. I know they ended last season well. I know they've always been in the title race, but I said, this is Klopp's doing his second rebuild. This is the start of Klopp 2.0, Liverpool 2.0. This whole new midfield, they've lost Mane, they've lost Firmino. I thought, yeah, this is way too... I think in my head, I was like, Liverpool, this is the start of their rebuild. It should just be about top 4 aggression for Liverpool. Then the following season, they'll be challenging. But this season, they're challenging. And that is a credit to Klopp and how good Klopp's been. And I think it will be between Liverpool and City 4th, 1st. In 3rd, I've got Manchester United. Predicted United to finish above Liverpool. Very wrong. Very wrong. Wish I was right, but very wrong. Manchester United have been appalling this season. I think injuries haven't helped. Maybe I thought the transfer business was better than it was, because I always try and look at Man United with a positive hat on, but actually you look at the money we spent, not good enough. But you look at the style and brand and identity of football Ten Hag is playing, what is it? It's not good enough. So the United have been dreadful, and the thing is, we're 7th, but if you look at our goal difference, we could be 11th, we could be 12th. I do think the 1 game a week, maybe we can get pushed for 5th, 6th, maybe. I think maybe 6th. We are currently 7th, which I think we're overachieving because we've not been good. But Martinez and Casemiro come back, you never know. But yeah, we're 3rd. I predicted Aston Villa 7th, they're 3rd. I predicted Man United 3rd, they're 7th. Should have swapped them around, hey? Going into 2nd, and this is the only one in the whole video I've actually got right, and that is Manchester City. I predicted Manchester City finish 2nd. They're currently in 2nd. They'll probably end up in 1st or 2nd. I think it is between them and Liverpool. They've got De Bruyne coming back in now. I did have this feeling that Man City might drop off a bit this season, losing Gundogan and stuff and underestimating his importance. The thing with Man City is they're either going to go on this crazy run and win it, beating Newcastle 3-2 from being 2-1 down in the last win at Oscar Bob. I think no matter what happens, City will be top 2. They'll either be 2nd or be 1st. But I actually put 1st Arsenal. And Arsenal were top of the league a month ago. This last month, they've been disappointing. I think Arsenal, if they can get a run of games going, can go and challenge. I think it feels like it's going to be Liverpool City, but I don't think you can rule Arsenal out yet. I think they could challenge. They're currently in 4th. They started the season well, but the attack hasn't gelled. The Saliba, Rice, Gabriel, Core's been good. Their attack hasn't gelled. Doesn't look like they're doing anything in January, but I wouldn't write off Arsenal just yet. But they're currently in 4th, and that is my Premier League predictions from pre-season. So as you can see, only Man City I got right. Brighton I was 1 position off. Forest I was 1 position off. There's a couple I was 1 position off. And obviously the season's not over, so actually some of these will be right come end of the season, or maybe none of them will be. Who knows? But that is my season predictions from August. These are my predictions from August before the season begun to where they are now. And yeah, it's not looking good, is it? It's not looking good, particularly the top half. I think I've overestimated Man U and Newcastle and Chelsea, and I've underestimated the likes of Villa and Liverpool. And it just speaks of how well Gary O'Neill's done, Klopp's done, even Moyes has done this season, doesn't it? Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please hit a like on the way out. Subscribe if you're new. Let me know down below if there's any videos you want me to upload over this little Premier League break where I'm not doing match reactions as much. Thank you for watching. Bye.